Good morning. We are working on Christian mental health, and this is the eighth class for paranoia. Paranoia, well, we use that, excuse me, we use that very often in our daily lives, and people are saying, oh, you have a paranoia, you have paranoia, don't be paranoid, or something like that. But well, we want to just know how we can understand paranoia and then how to diagnose that so we can use that properly. And so paranoia is kind of common, it's there are lots of paranoias, and people got paranoia as difficult lives because they have this is apparently a kind of mental disorder. So when they got this mental disorder, they have very difficulties in their lives because they cannot live the normal lives because of that illness. The same thing we have, the pinky pain because of the muscle or joint or whatever, or cut. You have difficult lives, that's uncomfortable. It's the same to mental health. So mental health is quite difficult area, but it's about the same to our physical problems, because once we have physical problems, we have difficulties, and the same thing we have when we have mental disorders like these. Then we have difficult lives, kind of uncomfortableness, and it affects to our daily lives, like social relationships and spiritual growth, and it can make lots of other mental problems also, because you have a paranoia, and you can get more chance to have depression or something like that, because what the paranoia has, lots of things to our lives. So we want to just take a look. Paranoia is the irrational. It's not rational. Okay, normal people don't think like that, but paranoia is the irrational and persistent feeling. So it's not on and off, but it's the feeling is certain feeling is there, and that people are out to get you, or that you are the subject of a persistent intrusive attention by others. This kind of feeling make feelings make people uncomfortable, definitely. Okay, because they think lots of people are watching them, and it's kind of hard. So when you play chess, for example, you can play and you can enjoy playing chess with your friend, but what if people are watching you? What if there are lots of cameras or something like that? But the people who have paranoia, they feeling like that. Okay. Well, there is a beautiful chess board and two chairs in front of the Laguna Beach. When you go there, you can see that. That's gonna be all the way down, almost the end of the Laguna Beach, and you can see the beautiful cement and tile, the colorful tile made the chessboard and two chairs. Well, people can bring their chess and then they can play on there. But what if lots of people are watching them with their swimming suit on? It's gonna be hard for you to play and focus on it. Same thing. This unfounded mistrust of others. So you just have irrational thinking and persistent feeling. That's why you you can think, oh, others are thinking like that, or others are watching you this way or that way. Okay. This unfounded mistrust of others can make it difficult for a person with paranoia to function socially or have close relationships. Yeah, because your friend or your co-workers are thinking you are a good worker, but you um, who have paranoia is thinking that others are thinking they have particular opinion on you, and then if you think like that, you don't make a good relationships with those people. Because what if you have paranoia and you are thinking others are criticizing you always, even though they are complimenting you and your work, okay? Then you're gonna be intimidated, or you're gonna have anger in you, and how you can, just form a, healthy relationship with others. The paranoia may be a symptom of a number of conditions, okay, including paranoia personality disorder and delusional paranoid disorder and schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is kind of a huge part. And when they have schizophrenia, they have different thinking and feeling, and sometimes they see something others cannot see. Actually, there is non-existing things they can see. Okay. All right. So that's what paranoia is. That's irrational. Just remember that, irrational and persistent feeling. The cause of paranoia is unknown, but genetics are thought to play a role. Well, genetics is kind of a big part, and it can be a good explanation for the physical problems, like your father, has cancer, and you have more possibilities to have cancer or something like that. Okay. But it's unknown actually. Paranoia is unknown. Maybe when your father has a paranoia, maybe you can copy and learn how to react to your environment. You can learn from your father, and you can learn the way of thinking of your father, and you can learn how your father understand what's going on outside with his friends and environments, or co-workers and families, and you can learn that. But genetics actually that is not educated, but it's born like that. So genetics are thought to play a role also. Okay. Then treatment can be pretty hard if that is a genetic problem. How are you going to fix it? If you got learned how, and then you got the paranoia, and you can just change your thinking and behaviors, and there can be some psychotherapies and then those can help you out to overcome the paranoia, and you can be healed. But what if that is a genetic problem? It's going to be harder to provide the right treatments, because it's hard to change the genes, right? And may include the treatment by psychological therapy or medication. Well, I was about to say meditation too. So, psychological therapy can include the meditation too, but apparently medication help the paranoia also. And people are think, nowadays, lots of psychiatrists and psychologists and even counselors are thinking, most psychological problems or mental disorders can be here. Yeah, it's there and it's there, and I think in most cases, psychiatrists are looking at people's brain, and there are lots of chemicals and kind of electrical activities in our brains. So they want to focus on our brain, but so for taking care of our mental disorders happening in our brain, we can, people are thinking that they can control or just minimize or decrease or increase certain chemicals in our brain. By doing so, they are believing that they can help the mental disorders nowadays. So psychological therapy and or medication can help for the treatment. Symptoms. Paranoia symptoms may range from mild to severe. Yeah. They depend on the cause, but generally a person who is paranoid may be easily offended. Yeah, because they have irrational thinking and persistent feeling, and their irrational thinking can produce lots of problems because you think of different ways than others are thinking. So in general, because they have irrational thinking and persistent feeling, they can be offended easily because they think something. And find it difficult to trust others, because even though it was kind of funny. When I was in Korea, I just visited a counseling center. Actually, the head of the counseling center used to teach in my school. He used to teach the kind of introduction to the psychology or counselings, and he has the counseling license in the United States and came to this Korea at the time, and I took one of his classes, and he was a pretty interesting person. And then he opened his own private counseling center in the center of the Seoul, the most rich town there. And after I just finished my master, I just wanted to say thank you for teaching. So I just visited his office and gave him my thesis, and then as soon as he got my thesis, and he just asked me why I'm giving him my thesis, what's the reason I visited him. So I just wanted to thank you for your teaching, and it was kind of impressive and it helped me a lot. And he was thinking, he was asking me that again. So what do you want me to do? What's the reason you came to my office today? So I just said, it's simply, as I said, I'm just visiting you because your teaching was so impressive, and I wanted to say thank you because my thesis can be, can got some help somehow from your lectures, and he was just do this and that, and he just told me that usually, in most cases, lots of people are visiting him for help. Not only counselings, but something else. So I got shocked. Well, I'm not saying he has paranoia, but it was kind of shocking for me. I was just there for saying thank you, but he was thinking why this person came to me, what he wants, what he wants to get from me, or something like that, or he needs my recommendation or something. Or that's what he was thinking, I think. So then I was feeling that maybe he doesn't trust others as it is. I mean, well, because he had lots of experiences, people just wanted to use him or ask him, for this and that. But I understand that because he's a good person and people can get lots of benefits from his help. But he doesn't want to, trust me, what I'm saying. I was there just for giving him a dissertation, and that's it. Well, that is kind of, not quite right example, but that something similar things like that can be happening to those people who have paranoia. Okay. They may not cope with any type of criticism because they are very weak usually when they got criticism. Okay. Well, people can say, I think can you please do this something different ways, or I think that there is not, well, there are better ways for doing or thinking and teaching or whatever, theories, characters or something, and then it's pretty harder for them to accept that kind of criticism because they are sick. Paranoia means sickness, illness, right? So when you have a cold, can you just because you are sick, because you got a cold, you are not acting like normal, right? So what if you have a paranoia in you, and can you just act or respond to others' criticism as normal? You can usually when you got criticism, if that is minor or mild. Well, we got criticisms from all over the places and from other people, right? And then you can think about what's going on, and you can just look back. You can just look back what you have done, and you can just take that as a chance for you a little bit better, performance. But the people who have a paranoia, because they are sick, they have a mental disorder, the criticism is pretty hard for them. It's hard to accept it. Okay. All right. Assign harmful meanings to other people's remarks. It's about the same to the one not coping with any type of criticism. It's almost the same thing. And they may be always on the defensive. They have to protect themselves. They don't want to get the criticism, so they want to just be defensive. Which means that they are thinking others are offensive, right? Okay. When I was in mission trip in Philippines, a friend of mine there, I just made a friend there, and he became one of my best friends. and there was some incident between he and other person in our team, and that was very sad to watch that because the woman just yelled on him in front of all people, including the orphans in the orphanage we visited. So I just just talked to her, and in a room there were a couple of other teammates, and I just told her, you are not supposed to yell on him in front of other people, including the orphans. Well, at that night, the mission leader just called me, and he just just asked me this and that, and what happened and why I did that, and so I just explained that, and then a co-leader there, he just told me that, James, how come you are so defensive? So I just talked to him that, am I offensive? Do you mean he's offensive? Right? I don't know. So I just talked to him. I'm just talking with the school leader right now. I'm just talking with you guys. I'm not getting judged from you. So we are here for talking about the incidents, and I'm just explaining what's going on, and I would like to talk what I'm thinking and feeling, right? Well, that was just a talking, and I was not thinking that I'm defensive or offensive. Actually, I did a little bit, I was a little bit offensive when they were talking something wrong, that's what I was thinking. So, but anyway, but the people who have paranoia, they are quite defensive because they don't want to get criticism, and they don't know how to cope with the criticisms from others. Okay? So they may be hostile and aggressive and argumentative because they think what others are thinking, talking to them, can be criticism for them, and they are thinking something else what others are thinking. So they have to be aggressive for protecting themselves, and that's what they understand. Okay, so let's say this person is talking about this one has a paranoia. Okay, so this person has irrational thinking and persistent feeling. So when people are talking about this, that person takes that thinking as this. Okay? So he's thinking that person is talking about this, but that person is, because of this, takes rectangle as triangle to the person. Well, it's not about the communication problem. It is a communication problem because of that paranoia. You can say that. Yeah. Then this person is pretty, vulnerable when this person got the criticism from others because of this, this paranoia, that person is gonna be very hostile, aggressive sometimes because they don't want to accept the criticism. If you can't accept the others' criticism, you're gonna be very defensive and you're gonna be very hostile or aggressive. That's true. But if that is just one time or other time, or people can say, or people can think, majority people or in general, people are thinking this, then this can be wrong, right? This can be wrong. But sometimes most people can think this, and this person can be wrong too. Okay? But when this person has paranoia, this person's irrational thinking and persistent feeling can, just misunderstand this, so he's acting like that and understanding different ways. And a person who is paranoid may not be able to compromise. Rectangle and triangle, what's gonna be the compromise? I don't know. But let's say triangle maybe one of the compromise. Well, that's what we usually do, not always, but when people suggest this, I can think, this, so, well, we can make compromise or something, and we can do that, not always, but in most cases we can do that. But they cannot do it because of the irrational thinking. That's because when I have totally opinionated, we all are opinionated, but when I got paranoid and I have particular thinking that is pretty solid, and I have a paranoia and I'm thinking others are thinking something wrong, or things are going bad or something, and it's gonna be very hard to have compromise. And a person who is paranoia may find it difficult, if not impossible, to forgive and forget. Okay? Because they got trapped in paranoia. That can be a shield, so they cannot accept others' criticism. Okay? Because they got a shield, the paranoia, it's hard to compromise with others because this is too solid, and others can understand this, and I don't understand others. So when they think they got criticism and something like that from others, it's hard to have a compromise, and then they think that's the person's problem, and I'm not gonna forgive that person, and I'm not gonna forget that, and that's kind of hard for those people. Those are paranoia symptoms. So you can guess totally that the person who has paranoia can be very lonely. And it's going to be very hard for that person to have good relationship with others. Okay. And can you see the paranoia? Yes, we can see. But it's hard to diagnose that person has paranoia. Okay. Because we cannot say that person has a paranoia because of that one incident. One happens. Okay? So we are we have to think about this. So if that is repeating and all other people are thinking and that person has something wrong, problem in his or her mind, and we can think about it. We can say maybe that person has paranoia. And that person may assume that people are talking ill of them behind their back. Even though they are not doing that, the person who has paranoia may think, oh, those people are talking about me. And in a company, in a working places, what if that person has paranoia and that person is thinking that all others are talking about the person? Well, we just watch that scenes a lot in movies, right? And then can you build any good relationship or trust with others? Is very hard. Be overly suspicious. For example, think that the people are lying or scamming to cheat them. Okay, and that is paranoia. Alright, overly suspicious. Well, we can think and we can doubt others, this and that, because that can be happened, but that is always suspicious, pretty hard, right? And that person may not be able to confide in anyone, yeah, and find the relationships difficult. They're thinking relationships are very difficult, but they don't understand that's because of their mental illness, because they don't think they have a mental illness. Well, when you cut a cord, you can know that you have cold, so you know that you need some medicines. There can be some confusions between cold and flu, but you can understand what you have soon, because the symptoms are a little bit different, so you can understand, oh, I got a flu or I got a cold. But the mental illness, the paranoia it's not same like that. It's like people are drinking, but they think they can drive, and they are not drunken, even though they are drunken. And almost always drunken people are saying that they are not drunken yet, and they can do whatever they want. A person I know, he drove his car after he got drunken, but he was thinking that he can drive, but he couldn't, and he messed up. I regret that I had to, take his key out or something, but he was very adult, and I was kind of young, so and there were his families, so I was thinking they gonna do something, but they couldn't do that because they scared him, and he just drove a little bit, but he drove back instead of forward, so he messed his car. I think mental illness can be something like that, where people can understand and accept that they have, or I have depression, or I have kind of a schedule, or I have something, maybe they can understand what's going on, but in most cases they don't accept that, or it takes so long time, or until they see their psychiatrists or counselors. Even after that, they cannot accept that, but after that they can understand what, something is wrong, something wrong is happening to him or her. And anyway, so to consider the world to be a place of constant threat, okay, and feel persecuted by the world at large. All world are persecuting the person. That's what they are thinking. Okay, even though they are thinking they are right and they think all the world are wrong, and but they are criticizing the person and they believe in unfounded conspiracy theories. Okay. Well, we can just see that kind of scenes from kind of romantic comedies or something. All right, those are symptoms. Paranoia is associated with three principal conditions. Okay, three principal conditions. So you understand what's going on there. So paranoia, the first, a paranoia personality disorder. Paranoia personality disorder. Consider the mildest type, and most people with paranoia personality disorder function well, despite their mistrust of the world. Okay, that is still okay, right? The attitudes and behaviors associated with this disorder, when they become obvious, are often discovered to have been present for much of the person's life. Right? So this is the mildest, type of paranoia. Paranoia personality disorder. Okay. The second one is delusion. Delusional disorder. It's paranoid. Delusional. Characterized by the dominance of one delusion, that's a false belief, okay? False belief, without any other sign of manliness. So that's the tricky part. There is no other manliness, but the person, has false belief. Like people dislike the person. People envy the person. Oh, my coworkers envy me. They envy me. That's why they want to compare with me. Or that's why they want to just put me aside. That's why they want, they want to just criticize on me. Something like that. It's a false belief without any other sign of mental illness. The person's behavior depends on which delusion they have. Yes. For example, a person who has a delusion of persecution believes that other people are spying on them or plotting to harm them. Okay? That means people want to persecute me. They want to depress me down. Okay? Because I'm an important person. Because I am superior to them. Okay? That false belief, paranoia, delusion. So they think, they want to just win over me, so they are spying on me, or they want to just, want me to leave this company or this organization, so they are making plots. They are setting up right now, and that's what they think. That's an example. So delusion, the false belief, makes the person think and behave different ways. Okay? Stalking can be the result of a delusional disorder. For example, the person believes they are in a relationship with a movie star they have never met. In other case, the person may imagine they have a terrible illness despite repeated reassurance from doctors. Okay. So stalking is happening, because they have a delusion, the false belief, and she loves me, and I love her, and I have to protect her. Okay? And she likes me and she loves me, but she's just pretending that she doesn't love me, or she's hiding that love. So I have a right to follow her. I have the right to, protect her from other guys. For protecting her, I have to just be there. Something like that. So stalking, well, not always, but some stalkings can be happening because of the delusion, paranoia. Alright? And then some people is thinking that they got sick, and they got, terrible illness in them, like a cancer or something. Even though doctors are saying, no, you don't have any cancer, you don't have any illness, you are normal, but they think they have cancer. There are some reasons for those people who, justify that they have a cancer. But that is a delusion, because doctors are saying, and they don't find anything in the person's body at all. Okay? That is the false belief. That's the false belief, okay? Alright, that's the second one, the delusion disorder. And the third one is paranoid schizophrenia. That's kind of harsh. This is considered the most severe type, and it is characterized by strange delusions, such as believing that one's thoughts are being broadcast over the radio. Oh my goodness. And the person who has paranoia, especially the paranoid schizophrenia, is thinking, for example, thinking that what I'm thinking is broadcasting to all over the world. No, you are not saying anything. Radio broadcasting, any TV or radio or YouTube broadcasting companies, or those they are not broadcasting what you are thinking at all. So you are not talking about anything. But the person is thinking that because paranoid. Hallucinations, and especially bizarre ones, like are common to the condition, like people are just following them with their pistols because they think they are special agents, because they are important people, right? So they are just looking around and just very cautious when they don't just look back, or sometimes they use mirrors so they can see the back, or they just turn around often and be careful of people like this. Like this. It's sad, right? It's sad, but it can be happened like that. Hallucinations, that's what only that they can see, like a person is following them with their knives on their hands, okay, or snakes going around to bite you or something like that. And that's kind of very hard for those people who have paranoid, and that's paranoid schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, has hallucinations, so we can say that it's paranoid schizophrenia. A person with paranoid schizophrenia often finds the world confusing and functions poorly without treatment. Okay? So basically, they are thinking they are right, but all others are doing wrong. There are big problems in all other places, but they are right. So they thinking they're gonna be victims from wrong word. Okay, that's pretty sad. The symptoms is pretty sad. What they happening in them is pretty making those people hurt. So there are relationship problems. Even their families can bear it because it's pretty hard. It's not normal, hard to talk with, and conversation can be limited, and even their families know that they can be victimized by those people who have a paranoia. All right. So there's those three things related with paranoia. The cause of paranoia are unclear, as I said, maybe genetic, and depend on the condition with which it is associated. Okay. Theories include these genes. As I said, research is scanty and inconclusive. Some studies suggest a genetic link while others don't. It is also unclear whether genetic predisposition to paranoia, if it exists, is inherited or not. So basically, gene, nobody knows if that is related with a gene or not. Well, but we can say, oh, that is a gene problem or something like that, but well, we can just, say that as a joke, oh, that is a genetic problem. You are doing this, you have a genetic problem, even though they don't know what the genes looks like. And we can have a gene, the science is pretty developed so that they can see that our gene, secretes little by little right now, and then the gene word is unveiling right now, but how can we say that is because of the genetic problem? So nobody knows, and I mean they are guessing that, but nobody is sure that is because of the genetic problem. Yeah, but it is easy to say it's a genetic problem because you cannot prove it and others cannot prove it. So it is easy to say, oh, there must be a genetic problem. Well, nobody can prove that is wrong or right, so easy to say. But I'm not sure. The cause of paranoia, maybe brain chemistry. I just mentioned that in the beginning of this class. Brain chemicals, neurotransmitters. It's kind of a hard part, but if you just studied biology, I think you understand this. Neurotransmitters form the basis of thoughts and feelings. So brain chemicals have some problem. Certain drugs such as cocaine, marijuana, and amphetamines after brain chemistry and can bring on paranoid thoughts. Okay, so cocaine, marijuana, and amphetamines. Okay, or other substances. Alcohol. Yeah. Can bring on paranoid thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Yeah. So those can alter brain chemistry. Some people are inhaling the glues, the strong glues, something like that. They usually put the strong glue in a plastic bag and they just Just breathe that in. And or some people are inhaling butane gas. Those can alter brain chemistry. Those are very dangerous. Yeah, pretty sure that. So you're gonna be a dumb. It's gonna be very hard, you know. And those are when you got addition to those substances, it's gonna be very hard to get out of there, right? This leads some researchers to believe that paranoia may be a biochemical disorder of the brain. Okay, the causes of this impossible disorder are unknown. So our body is pretty complicated, especially our brain is so complicated. When you open it, you're gonna see kind of, thing noodles in there and some liquid but there are something wonderful things are happening in there. Right? Doctor I know, he's my friend's friend. My friend is doctor, and he is kind of a top doctor in the medical area, and he got so much reputations and something like that. But one day he just told me that being a doctor is getting harder as time passes. So I got on as time passes, you know better, you know more, you have more experiences. How come that can be more harder for you? And he just told me that diagnosis is pretty hard. And sometimes he doesn't understand what's going on to his patients. But he's an internal doctor, but he even don't understand some parts. And when he sees some symptoms or from particular patients, he doesn't understand what's going on. He can make some mistakes too. That's what he said. And he just confessed that is kind of scary. Yes, it is scary when you just diagnose it wrong. You're gonna just provide the wrong treatments, at least not providing right treatments, right medications or something, or right surgeries, or refer the wrong surgeries or something. Then it can be very hard. And when you have a problem here, you can have a problem here or whatever. I don't know what but that can be happening. When you have this problem, you can have these problems. Because this is one body. One body is connected, and your brain is there, and your psychological problem can, make your physical problems. What if you are believing that your left arm got stiff and you cannot stretch it out? You cannot do that. You don't do that, and eventually you cannot do that. Because if you don't stretch it, but just doing this for life, time, or at least 1 month, I'm believing that it's going to be very hard or impossible. Then you stretch that out after a month. I don't know how long it takes. But you are believing that you cannot stretch this arm out. Even though doctor is saying your arm is totally okay, but stretch it out, but you can't do it. Other people can stretch that out, maybe, but you're not gonna just agree with that, so you're gonna just hold it tight like this. It's gonna be very hard. It's tough. It's tough. Right? Alright. So what about the traumatic life events? For example, abuse in childhood may distort the way a person thinks and feels throughout life. Yeah. Stress reaction. Some studies have found that paranoia is more common in people who have experienced severe and ongoing stress, not one time, not 1 minute, not 1 hour, not one day, but many days. For example, prisoners of war. How stress can trigger paranoia is unclear, right? That's paranoia. There must be paranoia. Yeah, prisoner of war. Well, even just soldiers. Well, our government just decide to retreat all the soldiers out of the Afghanistan after spending lots of money in there for many years, and we lost many young men there, young women there. But we just live in Afghanistan with nothing. So, and there is big chaos in Afghanistan because Taliban and the government is fighting each other, and cruelty is happening there. So it's like we lost in the Vietnamese war, and we lost. I'm not sure, but because I don't have lots of information, but I'm thinking, and lots of people are saying we lost in Afghanistan war too. So it's kind of stressful. And what if there are prisoners there, and they have, I think apparently they're gonna get paranoid. A combination of factors. It may be that a number of genetic and environmental factors working in combination cause paranoia. Okay, combination factors. Those can be combined. Traumatic life events and stress reactions and genes and brain chemistry. Those can be combined and make paranoia. The condition causing the paranoia can be difficult to diagnose because an exaggerated sense of mistrust is common to a range of mental disorders, and also occurs in some people with dementia. Another difficulty is that a person who has paranoia may avoid doctors, hospitals, and other medical settings for fear of being harmed. So, because of their irrational thinking and persistent feelings, they avoid those medical staffs and organizations and hospitals, counseling centers, and then they have less chance to get right treatment. And diagnosis may include medical history, and because when a person got a problem in a right hand because of the incidents or falling or because of the machine problem or something, and they can have psychosomatic, as I said before, in a person, we have a cycle, okay, that's a soma. Soma means body, so psychosomatic or some people are just adding social psychosomatic means social problem, psycho problem, and body problem, physical problems are going together. They it's not separated. In a person we cannot say, oh, this part is the psycho, this part is the body, no one can say that, right? This part is a feeling. No one can say that. This is one body. So when you got a body problem, physical illness, and then you have mental problems sometimes, not necessarily, but your feelings can be bad, you know, not necessarily, but that's more, there's more chance to get physical, when you have a physical problem, you can have a mental problem too. Not always, but you have more chance, as I said. Okay? So we need a medical history and physical examination and assessment of symptoms and psychological tests. Tests no rule out other psychiatric disorders that may be causing the symptoms. Okay? And while there is no absolute cure for the conditions, how to treat them. Conditions that cause paranoia, treatment can help the person cope with their symptoms and live a happier, more productive life. Treatment depends on the type and severity of the condition, but may include this medications. Yes, medications works because if there is chemical problems or stability in our brains, we can just use the medications for that brain, for helping the brain chemicals. Right, therapy. This can help the person to cope with the symptoms and may improve their ability to function. But they need to cooperate with their counselors and psychologists or psychiatrists. If they don't have any trust with those people, they're not gonna follow their directions or medications. So that's the problem. So for the counselor especially, when the counselors want to form the trust, that's what's so-called rapport, right? Rapport. So they want to just form the rapport, the basic trust relationships. If they don't form that, they're not gonna trust you. They're not gonna tell you, all they have. They're not gonna tell you what's going on, right? Something like that, and it's gonna be harder for the counseling. How are you gonna counsel others without knowing what's going on to those people? Okay, to your clients. Coping skills. Well, we cannot control our feelings much. We cannot control our brain chemicals. But we can control our thinking a little bit. But the simplest thing must be, the easiest thing, it's hard though, the most easiest thing must be, we can change our body, we can change our behavior first. So we can just wear something different, we can just change our acting against to the negative feelings or environment. By doing so, it's not successful, it's not always successful. But when we just try that kind of different way of behaviors and thinking, we can change our feelings and emotions at the same time. Okay, we can just help that out like that. Coping skills, we want to just learn it and practice it. I think there can be some differences. Other treatments aim to improve the person's ability to function socially. Options may include relaxation therapy, techniques to reduce anxiety, and behavior modification. Okay, so when you used to just doubt others, so you don't go with them for lunch, but one of the coping skills can be just to eat with others during the lunch time. That's the big step. But by doing so, you can have time to talk with others and hopefully there can be some differences. And hospital admission. In severe cases, the person may need to stay in hospital until the condition causing paranoia stabilities. So, hospitals. It's gonna be sad, but and they usually give people some medications and well, they can help people if they have severe symptoms. We cannot leave those people harm themselves or harm others. So sometimes we need to separate those people. So then we need hospitals for that. Alright, that is all for the paranoia, and it's kind of a tough, but it's happening to a lot of people right now because of many reasons. So we have to try our best as much as we can in this condition. I mean, even though we don't know, what exactly happening to our genes and exactly what happening to our brains, but we have to do our best as much as we can. So we try little by little, so just so we can overcome from our difficulties and we can help others, so that they can be have a general or happier life than they have right now because of the paranoia. Okay, that's all today. So we're gonna see you next week.